Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to X-Plane 12 actually, and the Zebo. And you're saying, well, why are you in the Zebo? I thought this was about Airbus, and it is indeed, but I'm just trying to prove a point. And so we're in here cold and dark, and I'll just do away with the music here. And so there's a flight that is real interesting in Brazil that I'm wanting to show you. And so to begin with, don't worry, we don't got to start the whole thing. We just got to get the basics running. I'm going to put this into plan mode, and we're going to set up a flight that you cannot do in the Airbus. But I just want to show you that it's a real flight, and indeed where it is. And pause in it. We're currently at SBSJ. Now that is in the Airbus one, and where we want to go is SBRJ, and that is not. And it's a lovely, exciting little airport. And I'm sure if you have not heard of it before, after you've seen this little video, you will want to run away and do it. And what better way than doing this? And so here we go. Origin, SBSJ, destination, SBRJ, just to show you, as default, that's accepted, that's in. And if we come to the depart arrivals, we can see from SBSJ, of course, we've got our departures. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Let's just pick one. But importantly, on the other side, SBRJ, we've got our arrivals. And you can see there's a whole bunch of stars and arrivals here to choose from. And that's to be reflected in the manual. If we take a little look here, SBRJ, click on that and take a look here. Here we see them. If we come to the arrivals, we've got a whole bunch of them, but there's one of them. And if we click on approach, there we see there's a whole bunch of them. Let's look at the whiskey one here. Now tell me this don't look exciting. Look at this. You're coming in here at 6,000 feet. You've got all these hills here. There's city here. You're descending through. And if we take a look at this waypoint here, RJ803, we're down at 1,100 feet. We're less than 2 miles from the airfield, and we're doing a 180-degree turn onto final. Wouldn't you like your Airbus to RNAV, LNAV on the approach mode, that approach, and spit you out a couple of 100 feet above the piano keys where you can land it yourself? Sounds exciting, right? Well, guess what? You can't do it. Well, that is until you've seen this video. And so there you go. It won't let you do it. And I'm going to show you how you can do that very thing in this live stream right now. I hope I've sort of made that point there. So bear with me because it is live. I'm going to switch over. You see, I've not got many aircraft in this yet. And there we go. They did say the 767 was XP12 compatible, but you know what? I couldn't find the XP12 files, so I've not tried it. Anyway, so here we go with the Toliss. Let's start a new flight. Now, this is the A340 of this plane, but the way that this procedure is done is exactly the same no matter which of the Toliss aircraft you have. I've got the A321 as well, and yeah, it's exactly the same. I know some menus are slightly different, but the ones that we need to focus on are exactly the same. Put a bit of music on while we wait. Whoops, there we go. All right. Seems that the music slider is how you make X-Plane load a bit quicker. So there we go. We're on the ground here. Looks like we're going to have a bit of bother pushing back there, but never mind. We'll leave that for the ground crew to worry about. We're going to focus on the issue at hand. And so it doesn't matter where you are, but what is important here, do not be at the airport that you cannot fly to begin with. Be at an airport that you can fly from. And so in this case, we can fly from SBSJ, but we can't fly to or from SBRJ, at least not yet. So let's put the power on and same again. 1, 2, 3. And we'll come down here. And so let's prove this point now real quick. Let's get this onto plan mode constraints. We'll push the range out a little bit. Come over to the data page in it. And it's going to be SBSJ, where we currently are, to SBRJ. That's where we want to go. And we put that in there and it says not in database. Will not let us do it. Okay. Now just to prove that SBSJ is legit, if we just go from to SBSJ, that is fine. But we want to go from SBSJ to SBRJ, which is about 100 miles away or something like that. No, it's a short flight. You can see it's not letting us do it. So we've explored that. Now, why is it not in the database? Well, if we come over to SBSJ here and click on the airport view itself, 20-9, now we're going to see why. It's 4,341 feet long on the longest runway. The other one is too narrow and there's no approaches for this one. We're going to ignore the skinnier, thin, short one. We're focusing on this one here. It's 02 right, and on the yon end is 20 left. So that's the one that we're interested in. We want to add that one in. Now don't panic. You don't need to then, oh, well, look at all the SIDS and stars. There's so many of them. It's going to take forever to load all of these waypoints and restrictions in. You don't got to do it. Don't worry about it. The only thing that we got to do is this runway. What's important, we got to put both ends in of the runway and we need to know their exact coordinates. So best way to do this is through a Navigraph. I was going to say prescription. A Navigraph subscription, but if you don't worry, there's other ways that you can do it. You could probably even use Google Earth, to be fair. You just need to know some of the specifics here. So let's crack on with that. So in your MCDU menu, you've got your aircraft powered up like we have. Nothing special. You don't need to wait for anything to align or out like that. You just need the power on. You come over to the data page and you get this menu here that normally we just skip straight through. Let me clear all that text out. Come over to page 2. You see on one of 2 here, page 2. And what you're looking for is the pilot's custom points here. And you see we've got waypoints, nav aids, runways and routes. You want to come into the runways option. And here you see it's blank. Why? Because we haven't added any runways yet. And so the first thing, you see we're going to fill all of these out from top to bottom. So if we come over to the ident, it's going to be runway 02R and we need the 4-letter code in front of that. So it's going to be SBRJ 02R, just as though you were typing it into the fixed page or some other way, you know, you're wanting to refer to that runway directly. So it's going to be SBRJ 02R. Excuse my camera work. SBRJ 02R. Plug that in there. Right. If there were an ILS freak, but in this case there ain't, you would also enter that in. Now we need the lat long. We need it as accurately as we can at the beginning of the runway. So we're talking about here. And so first we got the north side. Well, conveniently, it's more or less exactly in line with 2255 and we're below the hemisphere. So it's going to be 2255.0 because we're on that line to the south. So we'll go 2255.0 and that's on the south side. Yes. Put in the slash. And now we need to know the east-west. Well, we're on the west side. There's 4310. So here's going to be 43.9, 43.8, 43.7. And so it's somewhere between 7 and 8. I'm going to call it and a half. Yeah, so I'm going to call it 4307.5. And that's where it is, give or take, right? 4307.5, and that is on the west side. Now we'll bang that in there, and that is that step done. Now we need the length of the runway. Doesn't matter if it's shorter than legal, and in this case, clearly for the A340 it is 4341. So we'll bang that in there. Now we need to know the elevation at the side of where it begins. So in this case, it's 09 feet. Pop that in there. And then the course. And that is 020. Now that's in there. We'll press store. You see that now becomes available. We'll OK that. And now we'll come over to new runway. Important that you don't forget this step. Come back over. And now we'll come to the other side of the same runway, which is 20 left. So it's SBRJ in this case. Two zero left. Okay. Lat long once again. So start with your north south, and it's going to be 22 54 1 2 22 54 1 2 point. I'm going to call it 54 2 point. That's about 7. 54 0 2. Say 54. No, 22 54. 22 54 0.7, and that's on the south side. Let me just check. Is that right? Yeah, 22 54. What am I talking about? It's 0.7, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. 22. Hang on, I'm getting this. I'm getting all my wires crossed here. It's 22 54 1 2 22 54 2.7. That's what I'm looking for. 22 54 2.7 south. /. Am I on about? Sorry about this. I'm getting too precise. It's just 22 54 south. There we go. 1 decimal point south. 4 numbers, point, 1 number, and then the letter. 2254.7 south. Okay. I'm supposed to be doing a tutorial here and I'm messing it up for you. So there we go. Now we need the west side, and it's 4310 9 8. So it's pretty much the same again. 4308. 0.0, and that's on the west side. Now hope for, what am I doing? No slash there. That's on the west side. So that should accept. There we go. Length is the same as it was before, so that's going to be 43 41 feet. And if we take a look at the elevation, this side is 10 feet, not 9. And so we're going to put 10 in there. Course was the reciprocal of 20, which is going to be 200. Bang that in there, and now we've got the store. Okay, now we see that's in. Now that is done, and that is going to save in your Toliss aircraft for good. So next time you load up in your X-plane and you come in here and we want to go SBSJ, and you want to fly in this case to SBRJ or whichever runway you put in, ta-da, it's going to let you do it. And I'm going to skip all of this, but just coming over to the flight plan now real quick. There you see SBSJ, there you see SBRJ. And just to show you that the plan is in, if we push the range out there, you see as there's RJ, there's SJ where we're going. Let's just give ourselves any which departure. That'll do. Just so we've got something in there. Now, if we come over to SBRJ, click on your arrivals page, look at this. We've got all the arrivals in there. So if I just bring my Avitab back onto the same screen here. Let's just pick a random one just to prove the point. So we'll come over to the arrivals. We'll come to this one. We'll come on to the approach and we'll select. There we go. And so what's this one here? It's the Matic 1 Bravo and the Sinag 1 Bravo arrivals. Of course, this one works for the approaches first. You watch this not even connect, and what do you know, it doesn't connect. Okay, that's not a fault of the thing, that's just me picking random SIDs and stars that don't match up. So let's go for this one. So we've got RNP Whiskey 20 left approach, which goes from Gellet onwards. So we need to find a star that spits us out at Gellet, that's all. And so to prove the point, Whiskey 20 left arrival. So let's scroll on down. There's 20 left. And we're looking for Whiskey. And there it is, 20 left Whiskey. So we'll click on that, and now it's going to show us the available stars for 20 left. So let's come to a more suitable one. Let's just pick any one that spits us out there. Arrival, let's go for the first one. Yeah, and this one, look at that. This arrival here spits us out at Gellet, G-E-L-U-T, which was the first waypoint on... Of course, I've gone and lost it altogether now, but Gellet was the first waypoint on our approach. And so this arrival here is called the Alasa 1 Alpha. And so if we scroll through there we see it, Alasa 1 Alpha. Click on that. There's the via Gellet, which we know we need anyway. So we'll pop that in. And now we get to choose. Do we want to come through Kevin, or do we want to come through Tokim? I guess we're a bit nearer to Tokim. I'm just guessing here. So let's pop that in. Temp that in. Okay. Let's clear that off. And if we scroll on to Tokim, let's zoom in. There you see it. And it's in with the restrictions. 250 knots at flight level 230 or below. And if we look in here, 250 knots, 230 or below. We didn't have to type in any of that. We only had to type in the runways, and we see we got access to all the SIDs and stars as though it was in there the whole time, even though the only thing we did was each end of the runway. And so with that, you've got your flight there for your Tolisses, your 19s, your 21s, and in, as you see here, the A340. And this works the same in X-Plane 11 and here X-Plane 12, as you see. And so with that, I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, guys, take care. That's it from me. I'm off camping now. Bye-bye.